Thing. My name is Garrett Williams. It's spelled Garrett. Last name Williams, Williams. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force, and I get to be the commander of the 313th Training Squadron at Goodfellow Air Force Base, the 17th Training Wing. So today, I got to provide a Memorial Day speech, if you will, on behalf of the 17th Training Wing at Goodfellow Air Force Base, talking to the wonderful people of San Angelo and Tom Green County and areas surrounding in West Texas. And it was a fantastic opportunity. I am grateful to be a part of this local community and the 17th Training Wing, where we get to take a pause here on this last Monday of May, which is, of course, Memorial Day, time for reflection, time for remembrance, and a time to honor those Americans who have given the last full measure of their devotion to the United States for our freedom and to preserve our life, our liberty, and what we know as the American way, which is our birthright as Americans. That's why we're here today. So I joined in 2006. I'm a Reserve Officer Training Corps graduate, University of Georgia, and then I commissioned the same day that I graduated with that degree from the University of Georgia. I'm excited about University of Texas being in the SEC now, so pretty awesome there. But I will say that my experience wasn't necessarily unique. You know, it's special that I get to wear this uniform, but me as an individual, I am not special. But it's special that I get to represent the United States Air Force and Goodfellow Air Force Base on a somber day like Memorial Day, where we do remember those who died in service to our country. As far as my background, again, you could ask 100 service members and they're going to give you an individualized story. And I think that's one of the important facets about military service, is you kind of do get to, in some capacities, write your own story, but there are always inseparable consistencies in the story of service that our service members tell. So when I graduated 2006 and commissioned, I came the first time to 17th Training Wing in San Angelo, 2006 to 2007. I was a student here. And then I graduated. My first duty assignment was in Germany, and actually within the same year that I graduated Goodfellow Air Force Base, I was actually deployed to Iraq. So the training that we give our students here helps save joint service members' lives. And that's not just intel, but it's firefighting too. So I want to touch on the importance of that training as well. 14,000 joint service members trained here at Goodfellow Air Force Base a year, and I got to be one of those in 2006, 2007. Fast forward, a couple deployments to Iraq, came back, deployment to Afghanistan, came back, and with Air Force Special Operations Command, and then got to be an instructor again at Goodfellow Air Force Base, because we were still engaging in a global war on terror and other contingency operations. So very important job there. Left here to go be a battlefield airman as a TACP ISR low with TACP JTACs up at Fort Carson in the 4th Infantry Division. So assisting other Army or Joint Service Marines, what have you, on the ground when they need to call in airstrikes and blow something up. So that was pretty intense. And then I got to go to the 20th Fighter Wing at Shaw Air Force Base as a senior intelligence officer and lead a team of about a dozen airmen downrange in Afghanistan, which was my latest deployment, 2019 to 2020. We saw a lot. We had a ground attack on Bagram Air Base at that particular time, and nothing really brings it home when you have an explosion about 200, 300 yards away from where you're sleeping, and then you've got to react to that fire, and it's all about generating air power at that point. So whatever you do, you have to generate air power, and whatever that task is. And that might not be discharging a weapon in anger. Maybe that is doing something that's specific to your career field that you got trained up for here in San Angelo, Texas. And that's what I really relied upon my officers and airmen to do at that point. So that was a seminal experience. And then I left Shaw Air Force Base after doing some staff time to go to Fort Meade, but I didn't do it alone. I actually met my wife Amelia, who's off camera at this point, but we met in South Carolina, and then we both went up to Fort Meade. And she worked at Georgetown, while I worked at NSA. And so we kind of had separate commutes, made that work. I got a lot of experience with signals intelligence, with cyber intelligence, and got to see firsthand how the intelligence community kind of pulled together when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Took that experience, I was selected, had the exquisite opportunity to come lead here at the 313th Training Squadron at Goodfellow Air Force Base, the 17th Training Wing. Last year, actually took command of the squadron, and it's been fantastic ever since, getting to work with folks like Harris Hillstead and everyone else there at Wing Staff Agencies and 17th Training Wing. And then also, I mean, it's the third time, right? Like third time's a charm coming back to Goodfellow. It's a fantastic place. Memorial Day is the last Monday of May, and in the United States, Americans take this time to pause and reflect and honor the memories of those servicemen and women who were killed in the line of duty. And it has a profound meaning to myself as an active duty service member, but I'm not alone in that Memorial Day is a recognition of the price that Americans have paid so that we can breathe the air of freedom that we do right now. And it should never be lost on any American that freedom is not free.
As a commander of the 313th Training Squadron and the 17th Training Wing at Goodfellow Air Force Base, it's an honor to be with you today as we recognize this most solemn of American holidays. Any American who's ever listened to a bugler sound taps, the last salute, whether on a green and grassy hillside, a muddy field halfway around the world, on a lonely tarmac stateside, or anywhere freedom is cherished and defended, knows exactly why we set aside a special day each year to honor those who have died for our country. And so it is today that we reflect and remember those who have died in service of the United States of America. Every year, on the last Monday in May, we take a moment to pause and pay respect to the servicemen and women who gave their last full measure of devotion. We do so for the sons and daughters of our land who have perished in the cause of liberty, country, and peace. The cause that has called Americans from generation to generation. We do so for the nation that was home to these heroes and heroines. The nation that gave them their birthright of freedom. We do so for the sacred trust they have left us, to revere, defend, and preserve all that they have revered, defended, and preserved. One of these service members that I reflect on today is First Lieutenant Rosalind Roz Schulte. Lieutenant Schulte trained as an intelligence officer at Goodfellow in the years following the dreadful attacks on 9/11. After completing her training, she was first assigned to Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii. From there, she deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, fighting in support of the nation's global war on terror. While traveling to Bagram Airfield for a Joint Task Force intelligence sharing event, Lieutenant Schulte's convoy was hit by a roadside bomb just outside Kabul on May 20th, 2009. She succumbed to her wounds, dying at the age of 25. Lieutenant Schulte became the first female Air Force Academy graduate to be killed by enemy forces in the global war on terror. During her deployment, she made a difference by helping Afghan forces improve their information sharing and by teaching Afghan military officials how to gather and interpret intelligence. That's critical to helping military leaders make vital decisions on how, when, and where to target. For her efforts, Lieutenant Schulte was posthumously awarded the National Intelligence Medal for Valor and the Purple Heart Medal. In 2011, Goodfellow renamed one of its intelligence training buildings after Lieutenant Schulte to ensure that her sacrifice in Afghanistan may never be forgotten. As we stand here today on this hallowed ground, there are several other fallen heroes around us. Let us not forget their sacrifices and how their blood, sweat, and tears allowed us to breathe the air of freedom we do at this very moment. The community of San Angelo, Tom Green County, and the whole of West Texas is known as one of the most patriotic regions of America. And true patriotism is measured in the steady dedication of lifetimes. To that end, you willingly sent your sons and daughters for generations to serve our great nation and protect our values. And for that sacrifice and dedication, I thank you. I'm proud to be part of such an amazing community that's both committed to remembrance and honoring those serving our nation. On this Memorial Day, please take this moment to reflect on the service of fallen airmen, like Lieutenant Schulte, as well as the hundreds of thousands who have died serving this nation, to include 2 world wars, Korea, Vietnam, and the more recent global war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan. As a nation, we are grateful for those who sacrificed their lives to preserve our freedoms and keep us safe. We resolve in steadfast solemnity to honor the memory of those who have died for our country and to make their cause inseparably ours. We pray and we promise so that one day taps will sound never again for the young and the brave. And the good. May God bless each of you today and our great nation forever and always. Thank you.